One of the biggest lessons that I've learned this year is don't stay where you're not valued. And that goes for everything. One of the biggest, I'd say, points of life or areas of life that I've really applied this with is relationships and dating. Don't stay where you're not valued. I've had so many different situationships or times where I've really put myself out there to give effort to somebody that I've been interested in. Or I've had some sort of relationship and it's always been completely one-sided. One thing that I've truly learned about life is you can't force anybody to see your value. You can't force anybody to see how much you're worth or how much effort you're putting in. Because the person that doesn't see it simply necessarily doesn't necessarily not want to see it. Sometimes that might be the case, but they can't understand how to see it. We all express love and compassion in very different ways. And so in one way you're buying gifts trying to show how much you care about somebody, but that person doesn't see gifts as a way of showing love. They see that as very materialistic and very narcissistic and selfish. They show love in maybe a way of hugs and close intimacy. And I think from that standpoint, it's important that as humans we maybe understand different points of love and how we all express it differently. But it is not your job, and nor should you waste the energy in trying to explain a concept like this to somebody that does not understand your value. Now, I understand that in most scenarios and situations, if the person's worth it, go ahead. But I think we do get often mixed up with what is worth it and what we should just completely move on from. We might lie to ourselves and tell ourselves it's worth it simply based on the limerence of what we've gone through with that person. However, most of the time, it's simply just not worth it. Whenever I've had a situation now that I'm a lot more grown up where I've seen blatantly in front of me that I'm putting an effort, I'm messaging somebody, I'm asking them, let's just go on some dates, I can take you out, I can maybe pay for the meals, and their response is completely nonchalant or just dead. I'm not here to force myself onto any sort of situation or force myself into any sort of agreement with somebody where I'm trying to put my effort in and you're not giving me any effort back. I've had so much low points in my life, shortened of low self-esteem and low expectations for myself. Why would I ever change myself now? I look at myself as somebody that loves himself a lot. And although I'm still learning to love myself a lot more, I won't ever make myself go to the level lower than somebody has made me feel before, just to make myself feel like I'm worthy of love, compassion, and attention. I am not a child, and neither are you. I respect myself enough to understand when I should cut ties with somebody if they are not giving me the reciprocation that I feel like I deserve. One thing I will say though is I do give people the time of day, because I understand that people do have their problems in which they're facing in their lives, and sometimes they might have a bit of, you know, a bit of mental, I'd say, tug of war going on. But I'm not here to watch you try and explain yourself. You've got to figure yourself out and then come to me and explain to me what has happened, and then we cut it and leave it there. But one thing I will not do for the rest of my life, and neither should you, is go where you're not valued. There is a multitude of people that care about you and would want to have you in their lives. It doesn't matter what type of personality you have. It could be extroverted, introverted, you could be a weirdo, you could like spaceships, rockets, trains, planes, and somebody would still like you. A whole lot more than you think. A whole lot more than you think. What I think you've got to do is simply just work on yourself long enough and those things will come into your life. But you really have to work on yourself. You really have to look in. You really have to just look after yourself and forget the noise. And once you do, the people and those things that want to be in your life will come into your life. You just have to believe it.